Prime Minister, it's been about a year since the border crisis erupted. The ceasefire is holding up. Thailand has halted discussions on the border issues as Cambodia sought UN talks on the maritime dispute. What is being done? What efforts are being made to restart border talks?
Thanks, Avril. I think it's 1 year since we start the fighting, and also about 7 months after the second ceasefire, 27th October. You're right, the ceasefire is halt. Also, it's remained fragile because troops, thousands of troops, are still stationed face to face along the border. There's no yet the measure for de-escalations on the troop, with regard to troop. Also, the main root cause of the dispute has not been resolved, which is the sovereignty, territorial integrity based on the international laws, on the agreed convention and treaties that we have on both sides, which is the international border. This can be solved by implementation the existing mechanism we have, including the JBC, the MOU 2000, and others. We already have those mechanisms in place, which took place before the fighting start on the second fighting in 27th, in December 7. So also, beside that, activities on the ground has raised concerns, also complicated matters. The Thai troop activities occupying well into Cambodia territories using barbed wire and containers is still there. This is well beyond even the Thailand unilateral claim boundary line into Cambodian territory. In addition, there's other activities that create fait accompli on the ground. For example, the road building, hard infrastructure, military bunkers, establishment of Buddha statue within the area of disputed area, the destruction of Cambodian lands, Cambodian homes in the area previously housing by thousands of people, and also dividing those land and give titles to the Thai citizens. All of this done within this 7 months before the demarcation process, which also agreed in the joint statement that the demarcations by JBC is the one that count for, to determine the territorial integrity and boundary line between the two countries. So for this is a concern. We have written a lot of protest letters, complaint letters to ask for the stop of these activities and resumption of the JBC, but so far has not yet. We have been exercising a lot of patience. We wait Thailand government to hold election, to establish the government, and also to establishment of the JBC. We have held for 7 months. Now we hope that we heard that Thailand just established the components and the leaders of JBC. We hope to resume that soon. As for, I heard the Thai leadership, especially foreign ministers of Thailand, has stated that because Cambodia go to UN clause that close the door for the land boundary. This statement, I like to say, a little bit inaccurate and a little bit unfair, based on 2 reasons. One, the reason why we go to the UN clause compulsory reconciliation is because Thailand has decided to cancel the only existing bilateral agreement between Cambodia and Thailand on maritime, MOU 2001, which for 16 years, for 15 years, that both Cambodia and various Thai governments, about 13, over 10 governments, have continued to try to work based on that, try to find solution, including 2 previous Prime Ministers of Thailand, Prime Minister Sita Thavisin and Prime Minister U Ing, during my time, that we work and try to find solution to the joint development and other areas. But unfortunately, after our warning, our request that Thailand not to cancel the MOU 2001, Thailand government continued to cancel anyway. So we have no choice but to go to the conciliation Second, there's no conditions, no agreement or anything before.
There also seems to be misalignment between Thailand and Cambodia on what the UN talks should focus on. Thailand wants to focus and discuss the redrawing of maritime boundaries,
Yes.
while Cambodia wants to focus on the joint development of these overlapping areas. As a gesture of goodwill, might Cambodia consider
I think at this-
confining the scope of discussions to a resolution on maritime boundaries?
I think this point is too early. We need to go on, agree on the process of appointing the judge. Now we are working on the chairman. We have nominated two of the judges each side, and we need the chairman of the 25th judge, and we're still working on
So
that.
confining the scope of discussion for now is not something Cambodia
It's
would
not
consider.
something that we have posed up to proposal for delimitation and the demarcations, delimitation and also the joint development area for the decisions. But like I say, for now at this stage, let's focus on getting the process moving. And also, it should not be a condition because the KL statements that we signed in October 20, KL Declaration, which witnessed by President Trump and Prime Minister Anwar. And also the joint statement said both sides agreed to conduct the demarcation on the land boundary. There's nothing in there said condition on what we agree or not agree on the method to use on UN clause. So it makes sense that we resume this to solve the border issue so that we have over 20,000 people that can go back home and also the border can be demarcated. This is the cause of the dispute. Any areas that we can resolve, let's resolve it. We want peace. I think Thailand's want peace also, and this is why we want to have the method to do based on international law, existing mechanism that to do.
You recently also met with the Chinese president in Shanghai.
Yes.
What concerns were shared with you on the border conflict?
I think for the Chinese leaders, it's always expressed, the support for both sides to find ways to solve peacefully. I think that is the main message, the same as a lot of international leaders who want us to solve on that and also based on the international laws that we have. Because if we don't follow the international law, we don't follow the rule-based order, how are we going to be acting as nations under the roof of United Nations, conflict resolutions? This is a position of Cambodia.
What role do you see China playing in perhaps helping to resolve the border dispute?
I think China has played a very active role from the beginning, joining the US and also Malaysia in the first ceasefire on 28th of July, and also has organized some informal meeting between our ministers of foreign affairs and Thai counterpart. The latest one is the Fujian Consensus, all about finding ways to build a confident building measures to de-escalate the issues. So I think China can play a role in that also.
The foreign ministers, the defense ministers, they've met their Chinese counterparts. How did that meeting come about? Who initiated the 2+2 meeting?
I think that's on the agreement that we had with China. This is bilateral matters.
Was it something that was initiated by Beijing?
The last visit by President Xi Jinping to Cambodia last year also take the ways to improve our operations. So that is another measure to step forward. And next year is going to be 3+3, adding the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Public Security, I believe, in China. So that to improve cooperation in diplomatic, in defense and security.
How useful are you finding those mechanisms of discussions?
I think it's to increase the focus on the area of priority. I think there's nothing wrong about it. There's always, it's to show that the emphasis to strengthen the focus on certain areas. I think this is a plus for both countries. We have this arrangement with Laos, with Vietnam, and others.
And Cambodia also recently took delivery of Chinese tanks as well as smaller Chinese warships. What is Cambodia looking at in terms of procurement going forward?
I think defense capabilities improvement is just part of any country's. We have worked with China for a long time, and this is the old agreements that we have just delivered this year. We have going to have exercises with China for just like an annual exercises and others, and also training engagement with China, the same as we have with US, with Vietnam, with other countries. We have bilateral agreement, bilateral cooperation with various countries.
You also recently met with the FBI Director, Kash Patel.
That's correct.
Can you share more details on the pledges to expand cooperation? What does that entail?
The cooperation between Cambodian security agencies, especially the National Police with the FBI, has been, for decades. We have worked together on counter narcotic, counter human trafficking. Now with the new threat from online scams, cybersecurity, it's a scope that we have to work together because the nature of crime now is cross-border. They're leveraging on technologies and others. So this requires that Cambodia work with our international partners, including the FBI, to increase cooperation and tackle the common issues.
Does that include on intelligence sharing, greater cooperation on that as well?
Yes, for security, in order to tackle on certain criminal network, you need to share intelligence, so information. It's the same, it's different terms you use. It's the information or intelligence, it's up to you, but it's the information sharing, the cooperation that build trust and also allow countries to work effectively together to tackle. I said it's cross-border. It's cross-border is mean one in Cambodia and one in the other countries. We have to deal with both organizations in order to eliminate this more effectively. So this is what our discussion is about.
Cambodia works with the US. It also works with the Chinese on these issues. Do you think the US and Chinese have to work more closely together? Because to your point, this is a transnational issue that no one country can solve alone.
Yes. Of course, President Xi Jinping, President Trump just met. Secretary Rubio is in Beijing talking to Foreign Minister Wang Yi to organize presidency visit to the US. These are bilateral cooperation. Both countries already have. In international realm, yes, it's going to have to be a cooperation, multinational cooperation, including the US and China. We're going to host the international conference on online scam. There will be participation from China and, the US FBI. I invite the delegation from FBI to join, and Director Kash Patel, he said that he's going to send senior delegations come to visit. These are the cooperation to tackle common issues, go well beyond geopolitics. This is for the interest of all countries. Criminal network can attack countries that they don't have alignment with political. Anything they can exploit, they exploit. They can attack both US and China at the same time for the benefit of money from scam operation or drug operation. So I see all this cooperation doesn't have to be confined within or be a hostage to, an area of what we call geopolitics. Sometimes it's too overblown when we focus on the negativities. But overall, the positive relationship between even the main, China and the US has existed for a long in multiple channels. And this is also spread back to other countries. All the countries in ASEAN has diplomatic relationship with both countries. I was in China last week talking to Chinese leadership, including President Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Li Qiang, about cooperation, state-to-state cooperation, and also talk to business in China, Chinese investors, to bring cooperation here. Yesterday, I met Director Kash Patel for security cooperation with US, and also US ASEAN Business Council visit me, talking about opportunities for cooperation for US business Cambodia. So if you see, this action, it showed that Cambodia does not have to be a place where zero-sum practice in the international relations happen. It's a win-win. We work with both US and China to improve our collective benefit, security, defense, business, investments for the benefit of our countries. And this is a win-win that Cambodia as a country, we don't choose, to be friend with one and enemy with another. We enemy with no one and to friend with all. We choose independent, neutral policies for the benefit of, and our engagement with any country is for our mutual benefit.
You talk about how these criminal groups are becoming more sophisticated. A UN report shows that now they're even acting like corporates, that they're using, for example, in the Southeast Asian region, some of these criminal groups, concessions within special economic zones to operate. And Cambodia has dozens of such zones. What is Cambodia doing to ensure that such zones are not being used to facilitate criminal activity?
Yes, we have learned from experience from other countries. We have, I give strict instruction to our security agencies, work with local government, working with agencies in charge of the SEZ to make sure that no SEZ has been used. If any SEZ is found to be covering for criminal scam, they will be liable just to the law, just as any others. So far, we don't have any evidence on those. We're very careful on this matter. So a lot of SEZ in Cambodia is a platform and the area for attract foreign direct investment in multiple sectors. So these are the areas that keep growing, and we continue to hope to attract more investment and expansion of the business both in the SEZ and outside the SEZ.
Cambodia has been very actively cracking down on these scam compounds. I wonder, what is your view or what you observe in terms of how they are evolving? Are they perhaps becoming smaller, more nimble, using artificial intelligence?
Yes, you are right. It's become more complex. We have cracked down over 670 locations, big and small, especially all the big location has been closed and sealed off and been under the court process, legal process right now. They have evolved. Many have fled the countries. Many have moving to neighboring countries. We have arrested and deported back, working with other partners to return to receive the citizens back. But still, there are some still remaining. It's become very smaller cell group. Technology has allowed them to work in a decentralized manner. But this we also tackle the step we issue we create new law that put the liability, hold also the property owners, for example, rental houses, to be accountable also if they found to be engaged or facilitate the scam online. We have issued the sub-decree that for any houses or apartment unit that found to have multiple occupants without authorization and is also subject to liability. And also we work with local government and public to give us information to try to crack down. It's more complex than the centralized location. But we will be committed, and we are committed to continue to crack down on this. And we have seen the result. We will make Cambodia become an area that's not easy or worth to stay for scam online. This is what our commitment, and we will continue to do so.
To your point, this illicit wealth has been channeled into the real estate construction sectors, and what you have alluded to in previous conversations, the black economy. How worried are you that there are some within Cambodia that might not want to see the issue of scams going away?
Well, it's what they want is one thing. What the government need to do is the other. It's our obligations. If you ask people what they want, a million people have different needs. But they have to conform to a law, conform to a legal basis. We are committed to promote good businesses, allow people to live, allow people to make business in a transparent and legal ways, not scamming others people. So if they want is one thing, but what they take action is another. If just have a desire is no, it is not wrong, it's not illegal. But if you take action to get engaged or facilitate scam or any illegal activity, you'll be responsible and subject to the law.
And Senator Lee Yong-pak has been sanctioned by the US for forced criminality. Senator Kok An has been sanctioned by the US for hosting human trafficking. How fair do you think these US actions were?
I think it's a personal matter on that, and both senators have engaged legal team to fight the legal battle in order to clear their names.
You're saying that Cambodia remains committed to fighting this issue of scams.
Yes.
So how far is it going to go in taking action against elites that are being linked to criminal activity or scams?
We have taken action against a number of officials. For example, we had removed 3-star general, 2-star general, 1-star general that found to have evidence that found to link with that. We have taken charge, even dismissed governors, police commissioners of provinces that is inactive against that type of work.
So,
there are more investigations to go on that we are dealing with this.
so would you say that the US action, would you care to weigh in on whether you think it was fair action?
It's a matter, we'll see the result after the court or the defense team will define. It's not me, it's not the court. It's the evidence of the US government that plays on, and it's the defendant who have, due process that hire the lawyers to go and try to defend on that. For me, the government, we have trying to find whatever the evidence we have that to make an assumptions. But for this case, I cannot comment who's right and who's wrong, because it's still now, the two senators say it's unfair. We don't know what the list is put on, the sanctions put on. So the legal team has the challenge. So even the U.S. court who take up this court probably is not yet know who's right, who's wrong, until after hearing the evidence from both sides, if they were to take the court. We have other government officials that also pursue. It's a due process. It's their right, that just because they have a prosecution, they need to have the rights to defense. For me to say who's right and who's wrong at this time without all the result of investigations. Our agencies are looking to different, cases. I'm not comment on which cases and cases. Some cases involve in, government officials, some cases going businessmen and others. We have take action against Oknyas and a few others that we found to have this evidence, especially when we work with our partners, the FBIs, that have evidence and others. So this is what that I can respond to you.
This is a global issue, as you say, and in terms of the money involved, some estimates put it at upwards of $440 billion, which could be comparable to the global illicit drug industry. What needs to change? Because Cambodia has had a front row seat in tackling this issue. What advice, perhaps, would you have for other countries that are now dealing with this?
I think we have to start with accepting the facts. Cambodia is not the only country that has this problem. It's a problem that many countries in the regions has it. For example, our neighboring countries has it. So our neighbors that say Cambodia is defrauding their nationalities. In fact, it's their nationalities who come to Cambodia and attack using a scam platform to attack the citizen at home. So many of that have returned back. They will, I don't know if they go back and change their mind or they still do it because technology allowed them to do back home. So, like I say, first we have to accept. Any countries that want to deal with this effectively have to accept that we have the problem. Cambodia has accepted that, and we have taken measures. We're taking measures since last term, last governments, and until now. And now we taking a really step up the effort, starting up from accepting the problem and taking concrete measures to deal with it. We have taken concrete measures, we have implemented new laws, we have taken actions, and also have to accept that it is a regional issue, that we need cooperation. That's why we work. So for us, for Cambodia, this is the experience. We admitted that we have it, although we're not the only one who have it. In the past, somehow last year, we were a little bit being scapegoat, but we not just say it's unfair, but we say if that's the issue, we have to deal with it. And that's what we did. We have to work with our partners in order to deal with it. It's not a blame game. It is the fact that we cannot tackle this alone. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. It's a fast business. A lot of people work in it. It's not the victim. They know willingly to do it. So the fact that they are in Cambodia or they're in their countries or other countries, they will do it. So that is the only thing that to do, and working globally with international work to deal with it.
Prime Minister, I wanted to wrap up this conversation finding out more about your vision for Cambodia, because you took over in 2023 from your father, who led for almost 4 decades. What is the path that you want Cambodia to chart?
You know, we have thought of this, and we said, what's the legacy that our team, UK, the Generation 2 team? Generation 1 team, my father's generation, it's a generation that started out with nothing, liberate the countries from the genocide regions, unify the countries, stop the fighting, which lasted for 500 years in Cambodia, building the countries from scratch, implementing reform and develop the countries. What is the G2 legacy has to be? First, we have to maintain what's the positive result that the previous team has achieved: peace, stability, development, national unities. But what are we going to do is to go for further reform, to tackle the issues, old and new, that may exist for us, and reform and develop further to bring peace and stability and development for our people. So this is our futures, and a lot of reform that we put to. We are now doing a lot of reform in the security, in militaries, in education, in health, in economic, in business environment, in order to innovate ourselves to make our country become more of an environment that the people of Cambodia can grow and also welcome more of the partners, whether it's in security, cooperation, economic, and others to grow. So this is our vision, is to bring Cambodia to be a rich country for our people in the future.
Prime Minister, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.